So I just saw a film in the theater that I really don't want to tell you anything about. I just want to tell you to go see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to front load my feelings about the movie, and then I will tell you, stop watching now and just go see it. If you really want to know more about the movie, which I highly suggest you don't, I'll talk a little tiny bit about it, but I'm going to suggest that you don't listen to me. So there's this new film called When Evil Lurks. This is an Argentinian film that is currently, as I record this, briefly going to be in theaters, courtesy of IFC and Shudder. But Shudder being upfront on that title card means this will be coming to Shudder. So chances are, by the time you see me or hear me say this, it's available on Shudder or will be soon. You'll be able to see it there. But I saw this in the theater. This, for me, was one of the best horror movies I've seen in a really long time. For me, as soon as it was over, I was like, that, for me, might be the best horror film I've seen since It Follows, which was, at that time, the best horror film I think I'd seen since The Descent. I love horror movies, but I don't see a lot of horror movies I like. I don't like a lot of the isms of modern horror, and this film avoided them. This was powerful. This was horrifying, disturbing. It was scary, which I could rarely say. This felt like being in a nightmare. This was a ride. This film really shook me up. So it is available. Again, this is Argentinian, so it's got subtitles, but don't worry about that. The visuals are amazing. It is brutally violent at times. It is shocking. It is a movie that it keeps you off kilter. There was, I think Sam Raimi or Joe Bob Briggs, one or the other, had a line about, what all great horror movies need to have contained within their structure. And one is anyone can die at any time. And that was the feeling in this movie. Things just came out of nowhere and you were like, wow. And it was like traumatic to watch this film. It is very gory at times, but doesn't dwell on it. It's not like Fulci gory, if that means anything to you. It's not a probing the wound kind of gore, but it's there. And it combines practical effects with CGI to just make things very impactful. And wowzers, was this good. So now, and I'm going to say, I went into this totally blind. I knew that this was a foreign horror film. I like horror movies. I like going to the movies. So I just decided, let's just go see that. Let's go see this. Let's go in absolutely 100% blind, not knowing anything about it other than it's from another country, so it'll probably be subtitled. I'm going to give you a little bit of the plot now. What I'm going to do right now is to say, if you trust me, stop listening. Don't listen to any more of this, because I'm just going to give you a little of the plot and get into some details now. But all you need to know is, if my opinion means anything to you, really see this movie. When Evil Lurks. Go see this. If you can see it in the theater, by all means do. It's really well shot. The sound design is excellent. The performances are great. The effects are really impactful. It's really good. And going in not knowing anything other than that it's a horror movie will allow this film to work on you on its terms, the way a story is written. Most stories work best if you don't know what's going to happen in them. Unfortunately, we're paying money. We want to know what we're going to get. So we'll read a synopsis. We'll read a trailer. We'll look at a poster. Everything tends to give away more than you really should in a lot of films. This is probably one of them. I never saw a trailer, so I don't know what the trailer has contained in it. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the movie. Stop listening. Pay no more attention. Save time. Head out into the wild. Don't listen anymore, okay? Okay. So the basic idea here is that some kind of bad thing has happened in this area of Argentina. Some kind of a pestilence has moved across the land. And basically the idea of this is people get possessed. They call it the rotten. They have the rotten. The rotten is there. That person's rotten. Something is in them. And these people can be dealt with. These people or entities or animals or whatever that get possessed by these demons can be dealt with in a certain way, but it has to be a very specific way, or else if you do it the way most people would take care of something they don't want around anymore, it just causes it to spread. So this film, that's pretty much all I'm going to say. It's really predominantly about two brothers who are trying to get their family away from all this badness that they see coming to a place where there's less badness, but apparently it's kind of widespread here and there everywhere. So it's kind of like a zombie movie in a way. It's kind of like a possession movie in a way. It reminded me of the film Who Can Kill a Child, if you know that at all. There's certain sequences that feel really reminiscent of that film. It is very grim. It is dead serious. There's a couple of amusing moments, but not really. and it just punches you hard. It just rabbit punches you out of the blue. And when you think everything is fine, it's not. And it is just, wow. It was really, I don't want to get into the details about what happens in it, because it really, everything that should be a surprise is like shocking if you don't see it coming. I really fear that trailers probably give away at least some of that to give people an idea of what to expect. But this is so great. I went in not knowing anything about it. So I didn't know when this first thing happens and a body is found, I'm like, ooh, is this going to be a werewolf movie? Like, I had no idea what it was going to be. And it really probably works best that way. Even if you do know what this is about, I think this is an excellent film. This is one of the best horror movies I've seen in a really long time. So in theaters now, briefly, again, by the time I say this, it might have been a 1 week only thing, but keep an eye out for it. Write it down. It's coming to Shudder. It's worth paying for a month of Shudder to see this. It may or may not hit physical media. I don't know. With streaming services, a lot of times they tend to retain those so that people will have to pay for the service to see it. They don't want to just give it away as a one purchased and done thing. So you may have to get to see it on Shudder, but it worked so well in the theater. It looked so good in the theater. When Evil Lurks.